In an increasingly competitive job market like we're seeing today, the ability to differentiate yourself from other candidates can literally be the difference that makes all the difference in the world. In this video, we'll look at a few steps that you can take to do that through your personal brand. Let's start with LinkedIn, the established professional networking site. The bare minimum on your LinkedIn has to be a complete profile, including a professional banner, headshot, and summary that doesn't just tell what you've done or what you're interested in, but who you are as a person. From there, every section that LinkedIn offers is another opportunity for you to shine. Fill them all out. Now, another part about LinkedIn to consider is regularly posting and commenting on other people's posts. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but consider it this way. Sometimes when you're in the job market, the hardest thing is just getting seen by someone. When you regularly post and comment on other people's posts, relevant technical material, you're just increasing the odds that your brand will be seen by the right person. From there, let's talk about resumes for a second. Now, I'm sure you've already heard you should tailor your resume for the job role you're applying to. That's absolutely true. But the level up is you can also tailor your resume for the story you're trying to tell. See, the story is what they're going to buy into or not buy into. So pay attention and know what is your story. See, you have the power to highlight out of all of your experience in education and projects those specific items that most closely align to the job role you're going for. This is how you craft your personal brand. Look over everything you've done. If you need to use an AI assistant for that type of thing or a friend, feel free to do so. But out of everything from your experience, your background, and education, you want to highlight a story, and that story should show at the end of the day, you are the best possible candidate for the job role you're going for. Take your time and craft your story and put that story in your resume. Are you already good at storytelling, particularly when it comes to written prose? You can consider blogging as yet another way to extend and demonstrate your personal brand. You can use platforms like Medium, Dev2, or even your own personal website. Understand, when you begin blogging and get a pattern of blogging regularly, you can actually establish yourself as a thought leader before you even land your first job. Check out blogging as a way to enhance your personal brand. Is video content more your thing? Consider making a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel. Or if you want to just release a few videos on Twitter or Instagram, that can work as well as yet another, maybe more comfortable way of extending your brand and helping people understand who you are, what you're about, and what you bring to the table. The subject matter can be as varied as you like it to be. You can talk about your personal coding journey, something cool that you made or learned, or you can give tips about how to get into tech. Understand, it's not about follower count or fame. It's about another way to help people understand who you are, what your capabilities are, even what your communication style is like, and help them in advance assess if you will be a great fit for a future role. It's always interesting to me when people ask for ideas for their own projects. And so sometimes I'll say, well, what would you build if the next project you made had to impress someone? If you had to knock someone's socks off, what would you build? What would the design be like? What would the scale be like? What would you integrate with in terms of an API, whether it's AI or not? What would that look like if you were going for impressing someone? Because see, what you built with your own hands, your code, that's also a part of your personal brand. That's the most direct evidence of what your technical abilities are. So whether it's just a personal project, a SaaS that you build and you actually get users for, a freelance client that you take on, or even open source, all of these are nice, direct ways of a future employer or maybe even future team member, right? Understanding what can you do, how do you do it. If it's open source, we can kind of see how do you handle open issues and pull requests. We can get a good assessment of your brand on the technical side from what you actually build. As I've said before, be sure it's live because a project not deployed is no project at all. The average recruiting manager or first line hiring manager is not going to get into your GitHub, clone your project, drop it down. They probably don't even have the right systems in place on their computer to run your code. Have it live, or at bare minimum, have screenshots and videos describing it like a case study so we can see what can you build and how well does it work and how well can you explain and how much do you get into the things that you build. It's hard for an employer to believe you're going to get excited about building for them if you don't get excited for building yourself. Make sure that is part of your brand. So far, we've been talking mostly about digital assets, but do understand the backbone of all personal branding is actually networking. Whether it's virtual or in-person, networking, human-to-human connection is the backbone of all personal branding, because you, as a job seeker, a job candidate, are trying to get another person or group of people to understand what you're about and how you could potentially be a good fit for where they hire people. So you have a lot of areas where you can do that. I can't even list them all, but really quickly, you have tech on social media. You have LinkedIn groups. There's Slack groups and Discord groups dedicated to various aspects of tech. There's online meetups, in-person meetups, tech conferences, so many areas for you to not only meet people, exchange business cards, and exchange LinkedIn QR codes, but to start building genuine connections. See, some of these connections will be people who can hire you, some will be people who can refer you, and some will be people that you can simply befriend and you can grow alongside. All of these are super valuable because, see, the more people you meet in mass, the more people you have a chance to show just how good you are at what you do. So get out there, leave the house, and meet people. Share your knowledge, ask insightful questions, be a decent person. These become like the parentheses around all the digital assets that you've built and help solidify your personal brand. Now, you may be thinking, Lawrence, none of that was earth-shattering information. I know the stuff already. And while you're probably right, what I'm going to share with you is, in fact, most people usually know what to do, but very few people do it. Because just knowing, or the way we used to say it is, showing up is half the battle, but execution is the other half. And so my challenge and my encouragement for you is to take each one of the points that I just talked about and begin executing on them in your own way. So not only don't be afraid of putting yourself out there, be enthusiastic about putting yourself out there, right? Your next job could be a blog post, a project, or even a video away. So figure out your story, build assets that tell that story, and connect with the people who need to hear it. I wish you well.